Hey, what's up guys? Little man with a big opinion here. And in today's video, we've got some more news updates. Let's pause the ad on the computer. Alright, and in today's news update, some stuff coming out of the White House. They are wanting to mandate vaccines for any company with over 100 employees. And from what we've seen with the Great Resignation, people are already leaving. So it just gives them another reason to stop working. And I took some pictures at my local Walmart, and it's not looking good. I've mentioned it several times before. We have the same amount of people taking out of our system, but we have nowhere near the amount of people contributing back into the system. Unemployment is still at a not a record high, but still above pre-pandemic numbers. The inflation went down to 5.2% year over year versus last month it was 5.4%, which that was what they, expected. And that number doesn't sound all that bad, but when you take into consideration that at one point this year, lumber was up 400%, gas is still up between 30 and 50% within your area. Food prices are still continuing to climb, and shortages are still being seen. As a prepper, this is all stuff to be concerned about, things that need to have you worried. I went into Sam's Club today, and the 50-pound bags of rice have actually gone down like 15 cents for the whole bag. Pinto beans are still higher than what they normally were. So if you do bulk buying at Sam's Club, then rice got just a little bit cheaper. Pre-pandemic, it was around $16.60, $16.50 for a 50-pound bag. The highest I saw it go up to about $18, and now we're sitting at, it was $17.12 at my place. Gas, stagnant. It's barely climbing, or it's, staying consistent at what it's at, but it's not really going down anywhere. And these are my physical observations that can be tied into my other news videos that I've done. And so I'll put up some pictures in this area of what my Walmart looks like, and it was bad. So the first picture you see here is the chip section, virtually empty. And then the second picture you see here is the dairy section. And this specific spot in the dairy section was butter and cheese. So it could be that Labor Day weekend kicked in. People really wanted to celebrate. But it could also be the shortage of truck drivers that we have. It could be the shortage of farmers and, meat processing and all these different, middle ground from farmer to finished product to truck to shelf. And then there's probably some stuff in between there, like quality control here, or just the system is not designed to function the way that it is, and politics has set it up to where, for the last 15 to 18 months, we've had millions of people straining the system. The next news topic that we're talking about is the federal bonus on unemployment has ended. 7.5 million Americans are no longer receiving the 300 extra dollars on top of their state funds. And most states have a time limit. You can only be on our unemployment for 3 months or 6 months, or you can only be on it as long as you're looking for work. And what a lot of these states did was, as long as the federal government is giving this increase, then we'll keep you on ours. So I'm not saying that 7.5 million people have just completely lost their source of income, but $300 extra a week is now gone. If you didn't plan or prepare for that loss of income, then it's probably hitting you pretty hard. If your state has ended their assistance, whether you hit the maximum time limit or, for whatever reason, now you're cut off completely, that is a large portion of the U.S. population that, it sucks. I don't know every single situation, but there are several polls and lots of stories confirming that a good bit of the people that were doing this saw a paycheck. COVID is the perfect reason to receive that paycheck, and tie that in with not being required to pay rent. You're basically sitting at home collecting a check, and a lot of people are doing it. The opening for jobs went from 10.9 million to 10.1 million. So jobs were, people did accept jobs, but we have more jobs than we have people on unemployment. The biggest thing right now is whether or not they want to accept that. At some point you are going to need to, because you can't live off of $0 forever. But as a prepper, what does this have to do with us? Well, with a strained system already, these people are pulling from a system that stuff isn't being put back into the system. And that means even if you still have your job as a prepper, you're still putting away 10 pounds of rice each paycheck. It might be harder for you to get that. When I was in Sam's, they did have some quantity restrictions, like, 2 per customer per purchase or whatever. Walmart had a couple of them, but from what I've read, it's not really widespread, the limiting of products again. But you've run out of this money. People will most likely panic buy in some sort of way. They need to be able to feed their families, so they're going to go out and get as much food as they can. Tie that in with this past Labor Day weekend, and then just general shortages as the economy tries to kick back into full gear. I've talked about this previously. Farmers had to ditch crops. Dairy was disposed of. Meat was unusable because, let's say, 50% of products went to Walmart, 50 went to Chili's, Chipotle, Outback, those places. The 50% going to the restaurants stopped going there. So it's going to take some time for the farmers to readjust to, having to create a supply for this additional industry. Cats are knocking stuff over. It's midnight, and this is when they're the most active. But our economy is not prepared for this. Most of the U.S. population is not prepared for this. With the federal government implementing, different mandates, it unincentivizes people from working. The increase of, all of this turns into less consumer spending. less spending on other industries. So your dollar isn't making or isn't getting you what it used to. So you're not going to go out to eat as much. You're not going to go to a concert or spend money outside of what you really need to, and it's going to continue to hurt the market. The oil situation in the Middle East and in the U.S., countries not producing more to meet the demands of going back to their normal economy, it's going to continue to hurt the system. And, I say it once, I say it again, I say it in most of these news update videos. The whole point of these is these are stories and situations going on right now for why you should prepare, why you should start a prepping pantry, why you should stockpile food. And then with that comes learning skills and, being responsible for yourself. It's very much, it's a libertarian idea, but in today's day and age, they basically label you right wing. Taking care of yourself, being responsible for you and your family, wanting to be self sufficient, where the other side is saying, you know, I want you to take care of me. The government needs to give me this, they need to do that, they need to, guarantee my safety. And I do my best to not be political on my channel. I don't think prepping is something that should be a right wing, left wing, center, Tea Party, Green Party, whatever. It should be something that everyone does because situations arise in anyone's life, regardless of their political affiliations, that the skills, the knowledge, and the resources that you put away would benefit you. I remember there was a very brief time where, prepping channels saw like 10 and 20% increase of traffic when the pandemic started. Because people are like, oh wow, these people, they know what they're talking about and they're going to help us get through this. And it quickly turned into, we're not going to call you a prepper, we're going to call you a hoarder. Because we're realizing that while you spent months and years, and some of the older preppers on here, decades, setting yourself up with 6 months, a year, 10 years worth of food, the ability to, never go to a grocery store to get your food. They didn't put in the work. They see that you have, a closet full of toilet paper and, enough Mountain House meals to feed a football team for a week. But it's your funds. You are the person that, budgeted that in. And, the preppers quickly became, a bad talking point. But, I still preach the same message. Stack food to the rafters, secure a water source, establish security, create a MAG, a mutual assistance group with friends and family that you trust, and just prepare to weather the storm as it keeps coming. And with that, I don't got anything else for you. As the news comes in, I'll make more videos on it. If there's anything that's come out in the last few days or maybe the last couple of weeks that I haven't talked about in a video, but is probably worthwhile information, then, leave it in the comment section down below and I'll take a look into it and determine if it is video worthy. But until then, I'll catch you in the next one.